Hey! Hey everyone, welcome back to Best of the Best Movie, the podcast where we figure out once and for all which movie is the best movie of all time. And you know it, it's round 2. I'm Brett, joined as always by Dustin and Dylan.
Yay.
Dustin, Dylan,
I'm ready to vote.
Okay. What's your least favorite movie you saw this week?
My least favorite movie
non-tournament related.
I saw what have I seen?
Seen anything else?
Oh yeah, I can't remember anything I've seen. Sorry.
I haven't seen anything either.
Why'd you ask that?
What, you guys always watch stuff. You're always like, oh, I saw Jim at the Stallions. I saw Tombstakers. I saw Crime Lickers. Like, you watch
Crime Lickers.
Can we have a couple more of the movies that we watched?
Crime Lickers.
I saw Time As.
Actually, I lied. I did watch a movie. I forgot. I watched the Disney Channel original movie Brink. I rewatched that.
What do you got? You're on the Disney Plus?
Yeah, I'm on the Disney Plus.
Wow. Was it good? I've never seen that movie.
It's not bad.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it would win a couple rounds in the tournament.
That's sad.
Speaking of the tournament, I kind of want to get into it because I gotta go on my rundown of the MTV Movie Award. I feel like I haven't done that in a while because we have a newcomer to the torn.
Yeah, that's right, because it's a new movie. Just do it. What year was it?
So today we're talking about the 2004 MTV Movie Awards, hosted by the youngest host to host the MTV
Can we
movie.
guess?
MTV Movie. Okay, but real quick, I don't know if that's up to date. At least in 2004
yes,
terms,
at the time.
it was young.
Can I guess?
Yeah. Who's your guess?
Dakota Fanning. That's a good guess, though.
I think she would have been really young.
Well, how young are we talking?
Slightly under 18.
Who was? Lindsay Lohan.
It was Lindsay Lohan, baby.
Wow.
Right off of Freaky Friday and Mean Girls, I think was like in theaters or something like. Yeah, because they won the 2005 stuff, so Mean Girls must have been just coming out.
How much did they sexualize her?
I'll get into it. Not that much. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Lindsay Lohan hosted with 3 performers, all pretty good performers. Here we go. Beastie Boys sang Check It Out.
Whoa.
Check It Out.
That's a good song. Wait, do we know? Did you mention what the movie is?
No.
Don't you usually at the top?
No. Come on,
sorry.
Dylan. It's been a while. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs performed Maps.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
We all love maps. Don't we?
Okay, Dylan. No. We don't
D12.
I love maps.
D12 performed My Band.
Damn.
These are all good.
So what is D12? D12 is Eminem.
It's a musical group with Eminem.
But so why didn't he just make those as Eminem songs? Why do you have to?
That's like saying why did Eddie Van Halen make songs? Wait, hold on.
I don't know.
That's like why Paul McCartney made Paul McCartney songs, is not Paul McCartney in the Whale
That's
song.
because the Beatles broke up, dude. But these songs sounded a lot like Eminem songs. Like it just sounded.
That's like saying why didn't Phil Collins make a Phil Collins song instead of Genesis song?
Because they sound different usually, don't they? These ones D12 just sound.
Really.
I don't know.
It does sound like an Eminem song.
It just sounded very much like an Eminem song. Okay.
Those were like his friends when he was growing up and coming up. So he's like, I'll throw you a bone. I'll give you a few $1 million.
All right. So the opening of the ceremony they do this skit every now and then. It was Vince Vaughn and what's his name?
Owen Wilson.
No, the
Triumph the Comic Dog.
Who's Vince?
Ben Stiller.
Vince Vaughn is an American film actor.
It was Vince Vaughn and Ben Stiller doing kind of like a pitch to Peter Jackson. This doesn't age real well because they're saying you should do a sequel to Lord of the Rings. That's what they're pitching. And they're pitching it like it's a joke. They're like, you could do a sequel to Lord of the Rings. And Peter Jackson's like, no, I'll never do it. There's no more Lord of the Rings.
Well, he did a prequel.
Technically, yes, he did a prequel. But it's just them pitching it, and it's pretty boring. I gotta admit, the only funny part about it is that Vince Vaughn keeps going, "Can I call you?" And he keeps kind of changing what he can call you. He goes, "Can I call you Pete? Can I call you PJ?" But then he just starts going, "Hey, can I call you Daryl?" And Peter Jackson always says yes, and he goes, "Okay, Daryl." And I thought that was pretty funny.
It is very funny.
And then there's a part where he's just like, they're pitching a fourth movie, and Peter Jackson's like, "But the ring was destroyed at the end of the third movie." And they keep going, "But maybe it wasn't." And Peter Jackson just goes, "But it was." And they went back and forth like a bunch of times, but maybe it wasn't. I thought that was kind of funny. Then they get into some gay jokes, which didn't age too well.
Get into some, same word for word.
They just kept they just kept pitching a movie that Frodo and Sam, it should just be them, like, it was basically fan fiction of Frodo and Sam just being oh, there's a giant spider, let's cuddle up close and let's see what happens. And that's funny because they're gay. The only other bit I can think of is Ron Burgundy every now and then interviewed a celebrity, and those were insanely boring. They weren't funny in the slightest. Like, and I love Anchorman, but they just weren't funny. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry
for you. There was an extremely funny bit where, I'm not sure if you've seen the movie Mean Girls, but they do the three-way call. It's kind of like a prank where they get you to say something bad about someone.
Yeah.
And basically, Lindsay Lohan was hosting, and Adam Brody called her, like he does.
Of course.
Like he does. Man. And he's trying to get her to talk bad about Jamie Lee Curtis from Freaky Friday, and she ends up saying... But there's actually a really funny bit where Jamie Lee Curtis is on the phone, then Lindsay Lohan goes, "Oh, but that was the director's fault," and the director's on the phone. And then she says something like, "Oh, but it's all the media's fault," and then the entire media is on the phone. And then she's like, "Well, I hate three-way call," and then the inventor of three-way calling is on the phone. It gets pretty ridiculous. And then she says she hates herself, and then herself is also on the phone.
So this doesn't sound familiar. I don't think I watched this one.
It got very meta. It was pretty fun. The other bit was, it was a parody of the Kill Bill Volume 2 teaser trailer. I don't know what that is. It's like Uma Thurman driving in a car talking to the camera. And she's like, "I'm on my way to go kill Bill," which is not in the movie, right? It's like a trailer shot.
It's the opening, right?
Is
the first one?
I don't think it
Pretty
is.
sure. It's the opening to one of them.
No, I don't think
it's in one of them. I'm pretty sure.
It is definitely, I think the scene is in the second one, but it's when she's on her way to Mexico.
But she's just like talking directly to the camera for a while, and she's like, "Now this is what I've been leading up towards." But
those movies are boring.
But Lindsay Lohan, it was before the last award, and she's like, "This is what the entire..." And they were making kind of fun of how Quentin Tarantino writes dialogue. But as always, Andy Dick was in it. He was in the passenger seat as Uma Thurman's trainer in Kill Bill Volume 2. I don't know the character's name. And Andy Dick,
Ishi Ren, right?
I have no idea. But
so he's playing the ancient Chinese man.
He was playing an Asian guy, but he wasn't doing any sort of Asian accent or any Asian eyes or anything like that. He just had the crazy wig and the beard,
the eyebrows.
And he was just talking like Andy Dick. He was really funny. I know he's done a lot of bad things, but he's fun.
It sucks.
It sucks.
Everyone's done bad things.
No, but he's been a bad person. Okay, so you want to get into the awards, huh?
Yeah, give them to me.
Okay, so the first one, I don't think I've ever seen this award before. Best cameo.
Ooh,
Dylan and Dustin. I think Dustin likes this movie. Get ready to put your arms up.
They're already up.
The best cameo went to Simon Cowell for Scary Movie 3, baby.
Yeah!
Scary Movie 3's on the board.
Who else was on the board?
It's such a funny
I gotta say, a pretty good one. Matt Damon from Eurotrip. Is he in Eurotrip? When's he?
Yeah. He's the band guy in the beginning who sings the song.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he was friends with the writer slash directors.
The original Starsky and Hutches from Starsky and Hutch. John McEnroe, the tennis guy from
John McEnroe.
Anger Management. And then Pink from Charlie's Angels Full Throttle.
Well, yeah, that movie should have won everything.
It should have won Best Fight, but Best Fight went to... Oh boy, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name right. I'm sorry about that. Uma Thurman versus Chiaki Kuriyama for Kill Bill Volume 1. That's
Volume 1.
That's the ball. Yeah, that's because Kill Bill Volume 2 is coming out. They always try to promote the good stuff, the new stuff. But I think that's the ball and chain girl.
Yeah, so that's the fight against the Crazy 88.
Yeah. Just specifically just those two fighting, just because that was a long scene.
I mean, that whole scene's fine. Cool.
Yeah. Keanu Reeves versus Hugo Weaving, Matrix Reloaded, loss. Rest in peace. Best dance sequence went to Sean William Scott for American Wedding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he danced in that movie. We watched it recently.
But this is crazy. He beat out the entire cast of You Got Served, which is a dance.
What?
Which is a dance movie.
It's crazy.
I never watched that movie, but I guess that whole scene in that American Pie movie,
which reminded me of the Lindsay Lohan monologue. Sorry to go back to the beginning. Her monologue. She came out, and Andy Richter and now Rachel Dratch came out as her parents. And because she was
rip, dude. Andy Richter died, right?
No.
Wait, who am I thinking of?
Andy Richter did not die.
Who am I thinking of?
Don't know.
The guy from 10 Rules for Dating My Daughter or whatever.
Oh, you're thinking of
John Ritter.
John Ritter. He died a long time ago. Yeah. Okay. So they came out as her parents because she's under 18, and the whole bit was she kept trying to do her monologue, and every time she would like curse or do something, they're like, that's bad. But then she was like, well, I got to do a dance sequence with the cast of You Got Served, and they're like, you can't do that. Well, Lindsay Lohan was like, I'm doing it anyway, and she like took off some of her clothes and she danced with the You Got Served cast. It felt like I was watching a talent show. It's really awkward to watch like, I don't know, VHS quality footage of a dance sequence. In the audience,
never seen.
Yeah,
You Got Served. Probably never will.
No.
It's pretty good. You don't have to watch it.
I
will say the best part about it is that Chris Brown dies immediately.
Isn't that Stomp the Yard?
Oh damn!
Oh damn!
I got them switched.
Yeah, man. You need to see. You might want to see someone about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see a professional about that.
My favorite thing about watching the 2004 MTV Movie Awards, and I suggest you guys do it too, because on this YouTube, all of the commercials were left in, and I was like skipping ahead to watch the commercials. Like, it's so crazy.
What were some of the commercials? What were some throwbacks?
I have the 7-Up vending machines that like drive themselves. They're like just. I don't remember he was just like, I made vending machines that come to you, and so they're like driving all over a beach. And he's like they're just like shooting 7-Up cans at people, and they're like going into the ocean catching on fire. It was very funny.
Actually, that does sound familiar.
It was so funny. And then just like how MTV's like own commercials were very funny. Like there's this one very dramatic like older couple arguing, and then he goes, "Why can't you be like Jessica?" And she's like, "Jessica who?" And he's like, "Jessica Simpson." And she starts being like, "Oh, so you're dating Jessica Simpson now?" And he's just like, "No." And it was really weird. It's just very dramatic commercial for newlyweds. I don't know. I suggest you do it. 2004 commercials, very nostalgic, I guess. Okay.
That was a good time.
Best action sequence. I'm going to make you guys guess. You'll never get this. You'll never get it.
I'll get it.
The best action sequence went to Battle at Gondor.
Open Water.
American Wedding.
Is it Open Water?
I was thinking of a movie that came around that time.
No, it was Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. But I am going to make you guess the runners-up.
Okay.
Intercoastal Freeway Pursuit.
Intercoastal.
Okay,
freeway.
Dylan, you told me you've seen this movie recently. You talked about it last week on the podcast.
Bad Boys 2.
Yeah, it's Bad Boys 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking of like it's a race that takes place on the East Coast and the West. I was like, what movie does that?
That'd be insane. Okay, Champion Crane Chase. Why? I don't know why I couldn't say that. Champion Crane Chase.
What?
Crane Chase. I don't know. The Transporter.
Close. This is like the only action sequence I remembered from this movie, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty cool action scene. Okay, and the last one, Escape from Mongolia.
Right?
What was that fucking movie?
You want to say it's your favorite movie ever. You just said it should win all the awards.
Charlie's Angels.
All right, you got it.
Oh, that's right. That's the opening sequence.
Okay, best kiss. Let's get to it.
Charlie's Angels.
This is one of the few times 3 people have won the award for best kiss. So the best kiss went to Owen Wilson, Carmen Electra, and Amy Smart for Starsky and Hutch.
Yep.
And only Carmen Electra was there to accept the award. I think she kissed Snoop Dogg. Thought that was funny.
All right, guess I gotta kiss someone.
I can't think of a more 2004 statement than Carmen Electra kissing Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, the other X2 was nominated for that, and Bruce Almighty and Monster. Your favorite movie, Dylan.
Oh yeah, Dylan loves exactly what everything that movie's about.
Best comedic
women taking empowerment.
Best comedic performance went to Jack Black for School of Rock. I'm down for it.
Good movie.
And beating out Elf, which I hate Elf, so I'm down for Elf going down.
Great film.
Also beating out Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one.
Dude, that's funny.
Best villain went to Lucy Liu for Kill Bill Volume 1. Definitely. I can get behind that one. Though beating out Kiefer Sutherland for Phone Booth.
Oh.
Tough call there.
That's a good one.
Tough call. Okay. Best on-screen team.
Ooh, better be Charlie's Angels.
Dude, just as good. They weren't even nominated. I hate to tell you. They weren't even nominated.
What?
But just as memorable, Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore for their second time together, 50 First Dates.
So the Lord of the Rings boys didn't even win?
They were not nominated.
What? The Fellowship of the Ring wasn't even nominated.
In case you're curious,
no, but they're called the Fellowship.
Oh, okay.
In case you're curious, the Bad Boys were nominated, Starsky and Hutch, the School of Rock Band, and Pirates of the Caribbean cast.
That's some good runners in there.
Okay, breakthrough female, little inside training, went to Lindsay Lohan for Freaky Friday.
Ooh.
Dude, broke through.
All of these people have became stars. Jessica Biel, Scarlett Johansson, Keira Knightley, and Evan Rachel Wood.
Damn, that is a fucking star cast.
Okay, breakthrough male went to Sean Ashmore for X2. I don't know how to do
Sean Ashmore.
You're supposed to go Ice Freeze. What's his name? Iceman.
He's in The Boys.
Boy.
Let me call him Ice Freeze. Okay, beating out Shia LaBeouf for Holes, Ludacris, Too Fast, Too Furious. A lot of good people.
Ludacris also in Holes. So.
Okay,
but Ludacris with Stanley Yelnats.
I can fix that.
Best female performance went to Uma Thurman for Kill Bill Volume 1, baby. I know Dustin's sad, beating out Queen Latifah for Bringing Down the House.
Bringing Down the House? I don't like that movie. That's fine. Now listen,
it's actually Dustin's least favorite movie.
Now, when it comes to Queen Latifah movies, my favorite is Beauty Shop.
Wow, that's Barbershop spinoff, right?
Yep.
Best.
I like all the Barbershop movies.
Best male performance. Even the new one? Didn't they come back recently?
Yeah, and I saw it in theaters and I liked it.
Wow. What was it called? What was the thing? Was it...
Barbershop, The Next Cut.
Oh. I should have known that. Best male performance went to your boy Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Okay, and
Vindicated.
The best movie went to The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, beating out X2, X-Men United, Pirates of the Caribbean.
I would like to watch that.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, 50 First Dates, and Finding Nemo. Which movie do you think should have won there?
Probably X2. Or maybe Black Pearl. Black Pearl's good.
I can't do Black Pearl.
Yeah, Finding Nemo is also good.
Not 50 First Dates.
50 First Dates would have been weird if it won. It's usually like these high, Napoleon Dynamite one, but usually in Wedding Crashers, but it seems like most of the time it's like these dramas, like these very like huge epic movies.
Now, even though this is our first time talking about Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, I just want to point out that it is going against the movie that beat out Twilight Saga: Eclipse. Twilight, baby.
One better than three, baby.
All right, so I kind of wanted to say two things before I even get into this conversation, if you guys will let me say them real quick.
Of course. It better not be more than two.
It's just two things.
Two things.
Okay.
Count it.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. I finished to the end, and I thought, this is all one. This is all part of my one. I finished it to the end. I was probably, this is the most intrigued I was in any Lord of the Rings. I thought it was like, it had like action and stuff. I wasn't like bored out of my mind, you know, with all the stuff going on with the Fellowship. Well, the battle was kind of boring, but then I liked the whole thing with Frodo. I wish the whole movie was about Frodo dealing with that ring. That would have been interesting. So him and Gollum, all of it was super interesting. And it was probably my favorite Lord of the Rings movie. And I liked the movie. Can I get to my second thing? I'm officially voting on Twilight to the next round. That's one vote for Twilight.
That's funny. Well, you know, similarly, I had a similar experience. Once again, right? We keep having similar experiences. That I did find myself most emotionally involved in this one than any other one. I think the first one though is like a better made movie. We were talking about this last night, that it felt like in the first one they were being very innovative, like practical effects and locations and horse perspective and stuff.
They were all made at the same time, so
right. But it seems like the second two were more like green screen stuff. I don't know, but like for example, like the stuff in The Hobbit, The Shire. The forest perspective is like really cool and interesting, and when you go back and look at the behind the scenes and how they did it, it's very cool. There's probably 12 times in this movie where it's clearly a child.
There's also really bad green screening going on.
That's fine. I can forgive that for being almost 20 years old. But it's very funny to see I think their proportions keep changing. Like I can't tell. Are they the size of children? Are they kind of like half their size? Like it's just weird.
Yeah, my favorite was the one where I think Mary is sitting on Aragorn's lap, and like the shot is like he's in frame and you see the child's face.
Oh yeah, we had to rewind and he showed me. It's just like this 5-year-old like.
I thought the one I noticed the most was at the very end of the movie where Bilbo was getting onto the ship or whatever to go on his next adventure, and he was walking away with whoever. Gandalf, was Gandalf, right?
Yeah.
But he just looked like a little kid. Yeah,
he looked like a baby. And I was like, look at
so him. with all these Lord of the Rings movies, this is my first time basically seeing all of them. Same for you, Brett?
I saw The Return of the King in theaters. That was my first one.
Interesting.
That was my first one.
I've never seen it before. So these are my first time viewing these, and I had heard tell tales of like the movie. This is a movie that never ends. And there was like twice where I was like, it has to end now, but no, it just kept going.
Nope, more endings.
They could have got rid of the part with what's his face getting married.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah. And then I would have liked it if it ended with them at the bar. That's what I would have liked, and him going to the bar to go talk to with the girl that would have been his wife. But I guess you have to have that ending of Frodo dying or moving on.
I like that scene where they're in the bar because
Me too.
They just like saved the whole world, but everyone kind of hates them just for leaving in general. It's like you left the Shire,
and they just have like this. They're like war torn, and they're like. Yeah, they like came back changed people, and the looks on their face kind of like says a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of good like moments throughout this film, more so than the other two, specifically the second one. I think this movie still suffers. It's like, what do we know? Like this is only one of the highest beloved franchises in the entire world of all time, but I find myself complaining with these movies, specifically 2 and 3. I think for number 1's a little more streamlined, but there's like, you brought it up last time we were watching it where Pippin grabs the thing and then he starts freaking out and getting hurt. And you're like, well, we don't really know what that did because this is the first time we see something like that. And that's kind of like how the script is. Like there's huge things like we're introduced to things that we're supposed to catch up, which I guess is like good. It's a smart. It makes it so you're not just like force fed everything, but
they don't lead us on a whole lot. They don't give us enough information and context beforehand to know that this is bad.
Like in the second one, it's like, not Aragorn, Viggo Mortensen. He goes to this town. He wants to protect this town for something, and then we find out later why. I can't remember for the life of me. But it's like, and then we're introduced to the guy's Sean Bean's brother who died in the first one. And there's this whole subplot about the dad, and then we find out that I guess the dad never liked him.
I wouldn't know. I skipped that movie.
And during this battle, well, I'm talking about this one right now.
Yeah.
There's a whole subplot where he's trying to kill his kid, and I think it's just like, oh, I guess this is happening for some reason now, and I felt like when they kept cutting back and forth between this big battle, which is basically essentially the battle for humanity, and everyone's lives. It keeps cutting back to like this little moment, and it felt like there's little moments throughout this movie that derailed kind of the whole story for me. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
This is probably an obvious statement because it is happening, but I feel like this would work better as a TV show.
Yes, it is happening.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I had the opportunity to speak to someone who's like a huge fan of these movies.
Did you talk to your mom?
Oh, dude, nice.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Oh,
Thanks, bye. So we were talking about because my biggest opinion. This is my favorite film of the three.
Oh, okay.
This is my favorite film of the three, and she agreed that the second one is awful. That like the second one is very boring and very hard to get through if you don't love it.
Some people think it's the best one.
I think people are stupid. Now, the thing is, I think, because I was discussing with her and I discussed with Dylan, I probably said it on the last
You didn't discuss with me. Wait, hold on. You discussed with your other friend, you discussed with Dylan, and you leave me out of it.
He's doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now. I'm preparing for the podcast.
I'm as bamboozled.
I'm doing podcast prep work.
I'm not.
You don't pay us.
I'm not a part of this stupid audience that listens to this. Okay, I don't want to be bunched in with them. I want you to go. I want everything to come by me first before you say it on the podcast.
Can I talk to you for a second?
Okay. Can you ask Dylan to plug his ears?
Yeah, can you plug your ears for a second, Dylan?
I don't need to manually do it.
He's
I squeeze my brain really hard.
He's learned how to plug it without that.
I also want to ask.
Can you not fucking embarrass me in front of people, okay?
You're embarrassing yourself in front of everyone, okay? Because if you just ran by the information by me, this wouldn't have
I heard
happened.
you guys say something about sandwiches.
So
sorry, my ears were plugged.
When these movies try to accomplish over the span of 3 films what Marvel did over the span of 15 films?
20? What are we talking? 22?
So it's like these great, like it really was a cool scene to see the Stewart, like Faramir say like, I bet you would have loved for me to be dead and Boromir to still be alive to his dad. And his dad's like, yeah, that's exactly what I wish. I was like, damn, that's so cold. And it was like a really cool scene, but it would have paid off so much better if it was in a TV show or if we had more time to absorb this information naturally.
Yeah, the movie kind of like just keep rolling.
I think it's like we have Star Wars. So like, it's like Star Wars is the first big trilogy. And then this is like the first big one of the modern century. And it's like, holy shit, this one like paved the way for Marvel. But now I think thanks to Marvel, we can see that they like what they did was so inefficient and I fucking hated it. The first movie is great if you don't plan on watching the second two. And the second one is just such a dredge to get through. And then this one is really good to a point. It's like I really did love watching this movie a lot of times. Like when Elrod brings the sword to Aragorn, and I was like, holy shit, the sword! And then like there are tons of the moments where like because I paid attention to the first two, I get to have this fun feeling. But it's like, and you think to Infinity War and Endgame, which the whole movies are nothing but that. They're nothing but calling back your emotions from the first fucking 1830 movies. But it's like that is way more efficient. It's way better for the average audience member who's like, it's way more accessible. And I think this movie is just like you can't do it like this anymore. You can't just like build a universe in 3 movies.
I think you can, yeah. But there's just so much going on. There's like a lot of storylines, a lot of threads that they wanted to touch on.
Yeah, you can't build one this complex.
Yeah, like they could have gotten rid of that whole sub-story of the dad wanting to kill the son, and it wouldn't affect the movie at all. I think.
I think it just made a really cool scene.
I think it sucks that the whole part 1, part 2 fad started after Lord of the Rings, because I think it's weird that The Hobbit was split into 3 movies and these weren't. Like,
I think Harry Potter started.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
With Deathly Hallows.
That's what I'm saying. But Lord of the Rings was before that. I just wish. I obviously don't want more Lord of the Rings in my life, but I do think these movies would have benefited from each movie being its own trilogy, which would be bonkers. And I don't know how you would sell that, but I think it would benefit from that.
I'm interested in seeing the TV show now.
Is it Amazon?
Yeah, I did find myself very emotionally invested in this one, as I mentioned, than the other two. There's a lot of great moments throughout. There's also like 900 battles. I felt like the whole movie was just a battle. Before I continue, I will say that I didn't feel the length, so that's a positive.
I did.
Oh, I fucking felt it.
I didn't feel the length for a 3 hour, 20-hour movie, a 3 hour and 20 minute movie. It didn't feel the length. And honestly, it felt like it was flying by. But
could
maybe
you not say that to me?
Oh, let me show you my favorite part of the movie. This is my favorite part of the movie. Share the load.
Oh yeah, we were laughing about that. A few really great moments that I keyed into my brain and remembered. Probably my favorite in the whole movie and in the whole franchise. The moment where Pippin and Gandalf are sitting there and they're like, "We're about to die," and Pippin's very terrified about death. And then Gandalf kind of like consoles him. He's like, "Hey, this is just the next step. We all have to do it." But he kind of gives this analogy for what I imagine is heaven. And then in that moment, Pippin, you can see like him relieved almost. And I thought that was just like a wonderful moment. Another great one. I just love it. I kind of really like the Sam and Frodo stuff in this one more so than any other movie.
Oh yeah.
I like that there's kind of like there's this whole like survival movie within this big epic movie. They're basically starving to death. And I like pretty much them just hanging out on the rock, waiting for the lava to kill them, and then just being like, "Hey, we did it." And then the moment where who's that lady? The lady who wore and killed the bad guy that they set up, and she killed immediately. Aragorn. Erwin. She I like it when she's carrying Mary, and she's like, "I'll take care of you." There's a lot of really great moments throughout. So I don't know if the ends or the means justify the end, but because there's a lot of filler in this movie, a lot of stuff that wasn't necessarily engaged. I felt like there was like some pointless, but there was like a huge battle before the huger battle. I was like, did we really need that little mini huge battle? Could we just have like this big battle? But yeah, sprinkled out, there's great emotional stuff, and the most invested I was in any movie previous in this franchise.
But I was bored out of my mind. Like, just to say,
I wouldn't say I was bored.
I was bored until like the very end when Frodo is like just starting to turn evil, and he's like, "I don't know, maybe I want the ring." I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of fun."
I did like the ending with Frodo leaving, and I thought that was cool. Dustin had explained it to me because the movie did a shit job of explaining like exactly what's happening. It felt like throughout this movie also there are moments and just things, events, and lore that you're like, "Oh, if you read the books, you know what this is." Which I will never do. I'll never read the book.
But Avengers does it. Marvel does it all the times, and you just go, "Oh, that's cool." I'll have some nerd explain it to me on YouTube.
I think Marvel leaves little hints and breadcrumbs, like a nice little drip towards the path, and then these movies, they're leaving so many breadcrumbs to so many different paths, so many different storylines, and you're like, well, I don't know what the fuck this means. It's like every scene has a smoking gun.
And it's less complicated. I felt like Frodo's thing, there's like a level of complication to it. Like, well, he has to go because he's injured, or he held the ring and there's no more ring bearer. Like, and this is all stuff Dustin had to tell me with that, or like we had to look up.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's like, oh, they're going to the dying land.
Marvel's just kind of like, Thanos wants rings. He's gonna get the rings.
Thanos wants the stars. He's gonna get the stars.
Oh, it's
yeah, what rings does Thanos want? Is that a side story?
What's the rings?
That's the Lord of the Ring I want.
Give us that ring.
Also, I didn't know that Frodo wrote Lord of the Rings. I didn't know that was like canon.
Bilbo did, right? Didn't Bilbo?
He wrote The Hobbit.
Oh,
he wrote The Hobbit.
Okay, I thought Frodo finished what Bilbo was working on.
He finished the story, but then he gave it to Sam to finish it as well, implying that there is more story.
Yeah, there's so many times where I was like, oh yeah, Orlando Bloom's in this movie. Because I felt like an hour and 15 minutes would go by and he'd be like, it'd just like pop in. Oh yeah, he's in this franchise.
I'm still astounded by like some of the CGI where it's like they make the actor who plays Gimli look so small. That motherfucker's 6'3", dude. He's like taller than everyone else in the cast. It's like, look at that little bitch. Let's talk about the other movie real quick. I love Twilight. I'm voting for Twilight.
Whoa! This is the earliest we've had 2 confirmed votes.
Well, I want to hear your guys' take. Why are you choosing Twilight?
Well, this movie doesn't even though it's not my favorite movie, this movie does not put me to sleep. And that is a huge plus for this movie.
You can also watch it 3 times in the time it takes to watch.
Here's what I'm going to say. I feel like I legit like this movie until the baseball scene. And it's not the baseball scene specifically. It's not like, oh, they're playing baseball. It just feels like the conflict. They were just like, oh, shoot, we need to have a bad guy. Let's put him in. And the baseball scene is like, oh, bad guys are here. And it's like,
yeah, it kind of comes to a screeching halt or like a screeching pivot where it's like, it's about Bella and Edward. And it's like, oh, bad guys.
I would much rather the movie just like her dealing with this odd relationship. I thought, but like,
that's way more interesting.
The whole setup, I actually find really interesting. I like the cast a lot. The movie makes me laugh here and there, and they put the book cover in, which Katie points out to me every time we watch it. Lord of the Rings never does that.
He did that for real.
What do you mean?
When he Spider-Man.
And he performs 2 songs in the movie.
Ew. What's the first one?
It's when they're on a date. You can hear Robert Pattinson sing.
What's the second one though? That's the first one.
Oh, when she's like dying, when he's putting the blood in her, he's like.
He's singing?
Yeah.
You can hear him go, Bella!
Look at this photograph!
I love your blood, Bella!
I did like Pippin's song thinking of the other movie.
Pippin had a pretty good song.
Nice.
Okay, we both change our votes.
Another thing in that movie that probably could have done. Like, he didn't need to have that story, that subplot where he becomes servant to that kingdom. It's just little things like that are frustrating to me. But it's like, again, it's like, what do we know? Everyone loves these movies except.
Oh, you're talking about Lord of the Rings. I was like, wait, hold on. What did Edward do?
Listen, I think my favorite thing about Twilight is that it is, first off, easy to digest.
It is 2 hours, which is a little longer than probably needs to be.
People can make fun of the fact that like
it's easy target. People make fun of the movie because it's Twilight, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a perfect movie by any means. It's not even a great movie.
I would say it's
a comparable movie.
It's a good movie that is very enjoyable to watch. I find it funny. I find the gaffes in the film, the filmmaking gaffes, to be very
horny.
Very horny. When the vampires are walking and they're like, it's just like.
But I think people look at that like it's bad.
But I think it's just an interesting choice.
Oh yeah, like the blue. I think the blue is an artistic choice.
I was gonna say I like the cinematography of this movie quite a bit. The woods look so cool in this movie.
Yeah, it looks cool. Yeah.
I mean, I think I said this last time. I like the coloring in the better in the second and third one. But I still think this movie looks great, even though they're all blown out. It's like fuck. And it's just the points are crunched.
And I don't know what's crossing over the first time we talked about Twilight, but it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, that's not the vampires I like. It's like this is just like a different take on the lore. It's not necessarily for you.
It is like the main thing I can't get behind, and I know this is like everyone makes fun of, but the fact that their skin turns into diamonds when they go in the sunlight, it's just I wish something else would happen. Like they don't need to burst into flames, but if like anything else could happen,
the skin like turns gray or black or
and his like
coal or something,
and his eyes start turning red, his fangs start coming out.
But like I get it, they want to make him beautiful. It's like, oh, you turn more beautiful.
Here's the thing, I don't mind the diamonds thing necessarily. It's funny where he's like, look at me, I'm disgusted. It's like, no, dude, you're diamonds. Girls love that shit.
So I think the interesting thing is like this form of the vampire is meant to be like the perfect killer, and it's like the idea is that he's so alluring and he pulls you in. Like he's just like he's sexy as fuck, And then I think
full jackets.
I think if you were like, let's say it's like the 1700s, and you see a beautiful man and his skin is glittering, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm horny for you, kill me. And like that's why they're a better killer when they're like that. So it's like
he even says that in the movie. He says I'm designed to lure you in.
And while him being disgusted with it is very funny, I think it makes sense for the character. It's like, I mean, it's funny. This movie makes me want to analyze it, while Lord of the Rings makes me want it to yell at it to slow down.
I got a question.
You're going too fast.
I got a question about your Twilight lore, though. You say vampires are very beautiful and all this stuff, but Edward looked like that before he was a vampire. He was a good-looking guy before he was bit. What happened?
I think specifically he mentioned, when he's talking to Belle, he's mentioning like my scent.
Yeah. But what happens to ugly people when they get bit by vampires?
They don't get bit.
They don't let them. They don't let them.
You're not on the list.
Ooh, sorry, you're gonna have to die.
Oh, the venom kills them. If you're too ugly, the venom just kills you. No,
or maybe the venom transforms them to a hot person.
Oh, yeah, their bone structure starts cracking, and
if you're already hot, then it doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, then the bones just crinkle a little bit. You're like, that's weird.
They go from like Squidward to hot Squidward.
I just want to say, no one would change because everyone's beautiful.
Yeah, right. Some people are ugly as fuck, like Jeffrey. You want Jeffrey? You think Jeffrey Epstein's beautiful?
Wait, hold on.
Wait, hold on. What I get myself into?
You tell me, Weinstein's hot?
You like Jeffrey Epstein?
I will say that I don't know what I'm voting for just yet. I mean, it's already been decided that Twilight's moving on because you two just voted for it. But I will say that I think this movie came pretty close to me being like, I don't know, like it's good. There's so much like craftsmanship. There's so much good filmmaking in it. So much went into this. Like, not much went into Twilight. Let's be honest. Like, it was kind of made on a whim, for more or less, in a good whim. But I don't know. Maybe I was just disillusioned because it's like, I wasn't necessarily connected to the first two movies of Lord of the Rings, and it's like, this is the first time it made me like feel something and be invested. So maybe I was excited about that.
Of course.
And
but in your argument, let's take a painting where someone spends like 8 years on a painting and it's just like a blue square, and then the other person just kind of like throws paint on and it's like it's like a beautiful tree or something. You're gonna look at it and be like, well, they worked harder on that blue square, so I like that one better.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I
think it's also like I can agree that like Citizen Kane is one of the most influential films of all time, but Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is better.
Let's say
you're not going to tell me anything.
Well, let's say like maybe like Citizen Kane versus She's All That. You know, everyone's this argument.
She's All That.
Of like, which movie would I say is the best? I'd probably.
It's like, well, I think anybody other than someone who's looking at it purely as like a technical way would go like, She's All That was way easier to watch. I liked it way more.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think She's All That is not a good movie.
Okay, then like Good Burger.
Wait, you don't like She's All That?
I think Citizen Kane is 100% better than She's All That.
Whoa. That's a new barometer? Is it better than The Mask?
No.
There we go.
Absolutely.
Wait, we talking about
She's All That's a trash movie.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying The Mask better than Citizen Kane.
Oh, is The Mask better than Citizen Kane? I don't know. They're different.
That's the thing. You can say one's better than the other. You can be like, yeah, I like it better.
But like
than the
Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, I could tell there's a lot of love and a lot of craft put in, a lot of years, a lot of hard work. But ultimately, it puts me to sleep. And
the nuclear bomb required a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a lot of love.
And I'm snoozing the whole time that thing's dropping.
Yeah, this one didn't. This one I didn't feel the length that it didn't bore me. I think it had to do with probably that it was moving too fast. Things were going too much was happening.
No,
hey, slow down.
For me, all that stuff was coming at me so fast, but since it all meant nothing to me, it was just like, all right.
And then some things just caused it to come to like a screeching halt. I thought. Like the spider scene, I thought was basically pointless.
Yeah, I was watching this with Katie, and I was like, "How do you?" Because Katie doesn't like these movies either. And I was saying, "How do you not like them? These are Harry Potter. They just are the same thing as Harry Potter." And she's like, "No, they're not." And I'm like, "Well, there's guys with lighting sticks. Like he just makes the light out of nowhere, and there's a giant spider and all this."
That's
stuff.
true. I don't remember him getting that.
Yeah,
he was given to him by the woman elf.
I don't remember that. And it's funny in these movies, I'm like, Kate Blanchett, Liv Tyler, and Hugo Weaving are all over these movies, just like Elijah Wood is. And it turns out everyone I just mentioned, not in this movie that much. Like, I feel like Hugo Weaving shows up for 2 seconds. Elijah Wood is barely in it, I feel like, for him being the main character.
Hugo Weaving just announced he's done with Lord of the Rings. He will not be in he said he doesn't want to do any more.
For him.
Good for him.
And I was trying to really pay attention and hold on that I guess I didn't understand why Viggo Mortensen, what's his name? Aragorn, how or why he was the king?
Oh, so he was the last heir to the line of the throne.
Was that mentioned?
Yes, it was mentioned literally the first movie was mentioned.
Oh my gosh!
Because Boromir hears.
So these movies are meant to be watched one after another. Like it's supposed to be like a 12-hour movie.
Yeah. Boromir hears his name and says that he's like, the Ranger is the last of the line of so and so. And
so that throwaway line is the plot to the third movie.
They actually mention it a couple times in the first movie, and they mention it a couple times in the second one that he's of royal blood.
That was my defense to the multiple endings, because Katie was like, "When is this movie going to end?" And I'm like, "Well, it is wrapping up 9 hours. Like that's a lot to like wrap up."
And I will say all the endings were good except for the Sam's wedding.
It seemed pretty fast. He was like, "Hey, lady, let's get," and then they get cut to them.
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know the time.
I want to see like a Shrek 2 opening sequence of them like accidentally.
I'm in love. I'm in love.
Can we get that? Yeah, but Twilight. I mean, even once you get to the baseball scene with the conflict, it is like an interesting conflict, at least a little bit. It's just like, oh, the only conflict is they know you like that girl, so he just wants to kill her because it's fun to
yeah, it's a weak villain.
I think it's fun. I think it's a small. It's not like, oh, this is going to end the world. This is going to end vampires as well.
No, that's just fine. Like, small stakes is fine. I just think James as a villain is weak. He's not interesting. Yeah, if he was like, if it was a whole movie of like, oh no, like this is the game. Instead, I wish it just picked a side, because I do like that idea of like, oh, this guy just wants to kill you just for fun. That sucks. Mm-hmm.
I also think it's funny that James' first plan succeeds.
What do you mean?
James just like gets her immediately. He goes
to his mom.
He starts chasing her. He's like, oh, they're trying to lead me away. Let me just call and.
Yeah, do they run all the way to Arizona?
No, well, yeah, Edward does. They drive.
They didn't show that.
Well, he's very fast. They say it multiple times.
No, that's true. His thing is very fast. His power, yeah.
But that's right. I just love that, like, James's first plan, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to pretend that, like, I've got her mom hostage using this tape, whatever. Okay, I got her. Cool.
There is that
and he even makes a line. He has a line. He's like, this is too easy.
There is that part where he's, like, chasing after the vampires wearing Bella's jacket, and he, like, sniffs a tree, and he's like, oh, they got me. So his first plan, I guess, kind of doesn't work.
His first plan of, like, I'm going to chase her.
Oh, yeah.
Who's your favorite Cullen family member? Not Edward, not including Edward. Can't say Edward.
The mom? I don't know. She seems nice.
Dude, the dad's pretty cool.
Dude, yeah, Carlisle's
Carlisle's so fucking awesome.
I just don't know.
The dads in this movie rock.
I just don't know how. I just don't know how his doctor boss is like, hey, do a day shift, and he's just like,
oh yeah, I guess that's a glaring hole. Well, he's indoors, right?
I mean, he works at a hospital. I'm sure they'd happy to have someone who only wants to work the night shift.
I know, but they might be like, hey, doc, we got a person shot in the face. We need your expertise. And he's like, nah, I'm at the beach.
Fuck you.
Also, the main thing I don't like about these movies, and if this doesn't happen, the whole movie doesn't happen, is like, I said it last time, but like, why would they keep going back to high school? They can pass for being 19 or 20.
20 years old.
Just
yeah.
pretend you're. Maybe they found it. I don't know. They've been alive for so long. Maybe they found it harder to get jobs everywhere. Maybe it's easier just to go back to school. I feel like that would be harder to like fake.
I think maybe if you're just like a kid and you're just in a building for 8 hours a day, going from room to room, that less attention is brought to you. Like, I guess if you're like a 19-year-old and you just walk around town all day.
But you could be working at a hardware store or I don't know, somewhere. But
he does have a line. I guess it kind of makes sense, which is like the younger they start in a place, the longer they can stay.
That's true. So maybe they do graduate and then they get. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Never mind. I guess.
Otherwise, it's like he's looked like a 19-year-old for 12 years.
Good genes.
Damn, you haven't aged a day, young man.
To be fair, people think I'm like 18 still, so I don't.
Nice and right.
No one thinks that.
Tell that to my coworkers, dude.
They all want to fuck me.
all my coworkers are waiting until I turn 18.
Not like that.
They're like, they've got a calendar up, and they're like, when's the day, Brett?
Not like that.
I thought that was a silly subplot in Lord of the Rings, was the whole thing that carried over from the second movie, which was Aragorn, or Arwen, falling in love with Aragorn. I feel like that could have been completely cut out. That was utterly useless. That didn't lead to anything, right?
And they also don't show that she ends up marrying Faramir.
Oh, does that happen?
Yeah, that happens in the book. So it's like
went over me.
They show a shot of the two of them together at the end, but it's like
we were joking. Oh yeah, that's true. You're right. We were joking where she's like, "Man, she's simping this guy hard," and it's like, well, he's kind of leading her on.
One of the main reasons why I'm voting on Twilight is because just listening to you guys talk about Lord of the Rings is making me like want to gouge my eyes out. Like, but
I try to remember.
But you can talk about Twilight and how Edward he kicked the apple up and he did all this, and I'm like, yeah,
the apple kicking thing's pretty.
I'm like, let's talk about because it's almost like Spider-Man, and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. But once you guys start going Aragon and swords, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah, the whole thing with the sword being like went over me. And,
don't talk about it again.
This time we watched it was the director's cut, right? Or the extended.
Oh yeah, Twilight. We watched the extended cut. It's 5 minutes
I thought you were talking
longer.
about Lord of the Rings. That would be a totally different thing.
No.
It's 5 minutes long. There's like 3 or 4 different scenes.
I get why they cut most of them.
Why did they add? What did they add?
Nothing. There's just like extended scenes, really.
The weirdest one was one where like she's leaving school after like he smells her and he starts flipping his shit and he's like, "Can I get a new class?" It's like where she's leaving.
I love that.
She's leaving and he's by the car, the Prius, like gripping his hands like
it's a Volvo.
And Emma just goes, "Dude, leave it alone. She's not one of us."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they should have cut that, so that's good.
Yeah, it's on Vudu since it's moving on to the next round. If you want to watch the extended cut.
I actually watched the movie that is in the tournament, and it sounds like you guys didn't. So I'm gonna.
It looks like it lost.
I'm gonna need you guys to go back and watch it right now.
Yeah, so that means I guess that it's null and void. Sorry, Lord of the Rings: Return of the King has to.
I also want to point out, we forgot to say this, that you guys actually goofed last week, and I think you said the wrong titles because I think you said Transformers moving on. You guys meant to say the Avengers is moving on. So I will say I think you guys.
No, we didn't.
It was like a tongue twist.
It's the one with Shia LaBeouf, right?
I think
Megan Fox, Shia LaBeouf, Michael Bay,
Optimus Prime. I don't think that's the Avengers.
I don't think at any point Captain America goes, "Roll out, Avengers."
Okay.
I guess I have a hard time. I guess you know what I was trying to think of. Well, there's a lot to talk about Lord of the Rings. It's like how, like this movie holds the record for the most, right? The most Oscars, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's still
well, it's like I guess to me this is more along the lines of like Harry Potter wasn't like super riddled with Academy Awards. It was probably like special effects and shit here and there, but there wasn't like writing, directing, whatever the fuck else. To me, this seems like more along the lines of something like Harry Potter, where it's like it's this fantasy thing, it's this epic, it's good for families and children, whatever. I guess I'm trying to see like the Academy appeal of these movies. Is it just like from the pure filmmaking standpoint?
Probably, because I mean, filmmaking. Well, also like filmmaking and acting. This movie's like very good.
I mean, it's good acting, but it's nothing like It's nothing like. Again, it's not different from Harry Potter acting. There's nothing where I'm like, dude, this guy is fucking.
Do you guys want the answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a 3-way tie for movies that have won the most Oscars.
Oh, wow.
Lord of the Rings: Return of the King won 11.
Okay.
Titanic won 11.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And Ben-Hur from 1959 won 11.
The movie that kills animals.
Though and a human. And Titanic and
Can't forget the human.
yeah, you can watch a person die on film if you watch Ben-Hur. The family asked to leave it in the movie. If you watch Titanic, Lord of the Rings were nominated for 17 categories though. Ben-Hur only 12. So shitty movie if you ask me. But that's
if I ever get in a movie and I die, I would like it to be kept in the film.
We'll put that in your will.
Yeah, he was trampled by horses. It's a tough scene to watch because it's real.
Yeah,
Crazy. Did anyone die in any of these movies? I don't think so.
I did while I was watching Lord of the Rings.
I was thoroughly shocked that the length didn't kill me. But as much as I'm teetering between the two, the more I'm talking about it, as much as there's so much stuff, I think particularly the last third of Lord of the Rings I really liked. But 1/3 of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, is worth one Twilight. So I guess with that being said, Twilight's moving on.
Yes!
I mean, it doesn't matter. You two already voted for it.
Yeah, but it's cool to have a landslide. It's going to be fun to show this. To show.
I mean, it's not a landslide in my mind.
No, this was by far not an easy choice for me, but like once I knew what it was, I knew what it was.
What the hell are you guys talking about? This was so
because the thing with Lord of the Rings is that it would gain these momentums, have these great moments, and then like something else will happen. And we're like, I don't care.
No, you're wrong.
However, I always care about where Bella's looking while she's talking.
Yeah,
and
close your mouth, bitch. Her mouth is always open.
So's mine. I will say it will be funny to show this bracket to like movie fans.
I know.
They're gonna be like, what? Twilight?
What the fuck? Transformers? Dude, if Transformers against Twilight, that'd be pretty tough. Actually, no.
But we are officially saying, in our opinions, that Twilight is one of the 8 best movies of all time.
And Lord of the Rings Return of the King. In fact, all the Lord of the Rings movies are one of the worst movies of all time.
They do not.
Because that's what happens, right? The loser becomes one of the worst movies ever. Right?
I don't know what happens if you lose, but you're not one of the 8, I guess. You're out of the club. You're one of the 20. You're one of the 27.
Okay. What are we watching next week?
You know what? I'm gonna do something a little different. Nothing for you guys, but I'm gonna put a poll. If you guys are watching this on Patreon, go to the description. I'm gonna put a poll for the next 2 movies, and I want to hear from you. I should have been doing this the whole time, hearing what the audience thinks is the best movie. You know,
right?
Let's try to have some fun.
I'm sure 99% of people will think that every Lord of the Rings should have won against whatever it competed.
Well, we're
against.
not looking at the past; we're looking at the future. So let's talk about the 2 movies. The movie that beat Menace to Society is going against the movie that beat Black Panther.
Oh, can I try to remember?
Yeah,
Sure.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep. Versus.
Beat Black Panther was.
These are 2 short movies. You guys, we've been complaining about long movies. These are 2 shorties. I'm talking about.
I love that.
So
I love it. What's the one that beat?
It's Napoleon Dynamite versus A Few Good Men.
Ooh! I've been wanting to see this movie again.
We're A Few Good Men boys in here.
Yeah, and it's 2 laugh riots. I'll tell you that. So, guys, please vote in the poll in the description for which. We're not talking about the last week's movies. We're talking about Napoleon Dynamite versus A Few Good Movies.
You can retroactively go back and vote too if they want.
No, I mean, I don't have polls for those, so.
Well, you can make them.
Hey, don't give him more work to do.
I just thought this would be fun, and I should have been doing this the whole time. I should be hearing from you guys. So,
hey, I mean, it's a learning process.
Is there like a comment section on your Patreon? People like saying, "You fucking idiots! Lord of the Rings is so fucking good."
No, not too much.
Transformers fucking.
Last time, the only comment was one of my graphics was wrong.
What graphics?
So you guys can't see it, but on the video I have the movie posters underneath us, and last time I forgot to change them, so it still said Terminator 2 versus Titanic when we were talking about Transformers and the Avengers. I look like a silly goof the whole time. Every now and then they kind of say, I thought this movie should have went on, or this movie.
I wish we were famous so then people could just blast us for being like for not voting for Lord of the Rings.
Well,
I want to get roasted.
This is a podcast going out to 30 people that 8 to 10 people listen to. So we could, maybe after all these episodes release, we can release them to the public, but I still think no one will listen to them then. But yeah, that's fun. I keep talking about a season 2. I feel like if we ever do a season 2, I might not enforce the whole rewatching movies. Cause this is tough, man. Really?
I'm digging it.
Oh, Dylan likes it.
At first I was dreading it, and in the middle of it, I think I was getting annoyed, but now I'm into it. I would like
the choice.
I like being like, oh, I've watched Endgame 4 times this year.
Yeah, okay. I say if we do a season 2, it'll be dealer's choice.
I've watched Twilight. I've watched Titanic 7 times this year, and I can say
it also puts more impact behind my decision of like Lord of the Rings is better a movie, but like I don't want to watch that.
Fuck, I don't want to watch that again.
Watch that movie.
No, we decided that length cannot be a factor in the choice.
That's not. I mean, there's bad short movies too. Like if
It shouldn't be a huge decision.
No, but if Son of the Mask was in here, that's short. But I'm still not like, oh yeah, we should put Son of the Mask.
So like, but honestly, if it came down to the Phone Booth, which is an 80-minute movie that we both like, and Titanic, which is a nearly 3-hour movie we both like, which one are you choosing?
Well, for me, I don't think the length plays a part in that.
Titanic.
This is a
That's
tough.
what I'm saying.
Don't make me choose.
That's what I'm saying.
This is a tough one, but I don't think the length.
Phone Booth's fucking good.
Dude, Phone Booth is
care
really
what it
fucking good. That's a tough choice. Don't make me do this, dude. Okay. Next week, Napoleon Dynamite versus A Few Good Men. Dude, that's a crossover. I'm waiting to see.
Yes.
A few good Napoleon Dynamites.
We'll see you next time. See you later. Bye.